I want to talk a little bit about flaws in Vault Hunters, but not just flaws, like things that I'm looking at, things that I'm considering changing, things that where I know that we need to do better in this game that we are developing, and share with you all a little bit of a roadmap thing. I don't know if I've said this before, but let me say it again if so. After this summer, realistically around October, but I'm not gonna give you a date, we are working on getting a Vault Hunters vanilla out. And it won't be fully vanilla, okay? For example, the create mod is going to be in it. But a lot of these mods, like Mechanism, Botania, Thermal Expansion, pipes, modular routers, RIP, Iron Furnaces, all of these things are going away. It will be like a vanilla accepted mod. It will be like create mod, backpacks mod, some sort of storage drawers, if that's sophisticated storage or drawers, I don't know. Some sort of waystone mod, probably. Maybe mega torches, or maybe we build mega torches into Vault Hunters itself. None of this. Oh yeah, ice spawners is going to be in, because I feel like that is a vanilla-esque feature. And that's it. No digital storage, nothing like that. We are going to call it Vault Hunters 4 Vanilla. And we are going to develop it simultaneously as Vault Hunters 4 modded. So we're doing 2 versions of Vault Hunters 4. It may still be called 3rd edition, but I think it's going to be called 4th edition because it's going to be on the new Minecraft base. It's going to be on 120. 120.1 or 120.57 or whatever the number is when we port. And the goal with this is to be able to include more people playing Vault Hunters, more people that don't like modded Minecraft. Because personally, I don't think we need modded Minecraft. I don't think we need that at all. I think we need Minecraft base and Vault Hunters. I think that's fine. I think I throw the create mod in there because I think the create mod is a very vanilla-esque way of doing things. It's very advanced, mind you, but it's not a digital computer. It's like, okay, you create your arm, you can move your arm, you got your conveyor, but everyone loves it. I'm very excited about that. It's a lot of work that we are putting into making that happen. And in addition to that, and this is for those of you who are more technical than the average person out there, we are working towards making Vault Hunters loader in-exclusive. So what does that mean? Well, we're working towards removing the necessity of Forge or Fabric for Vault Hunters. And why are we doing this? Well, we're doing this not because the libraries Forge and Fabric and Quilt and all of these are bad. They're not bad. But we're doing it because there has been drama in that sphere for years, and it is damaging the modded community. It's damaging everyone. No one wins. Some people disagree, and so they break up and they create different loaders, and all of a sudden mod makers have to make 2 versions. The players are confused. They're like, oh, Fabric is better, Forge is better. They're shouting at each other about nothing. They're shouting about nothing. It's just different ways of doing it. So what we're doing is we're saying, you know what? We don't want to be part of that. We don't want to be part of that at all. We want to be as inclusive as we possibly can. If you want to build Vault Hunters on Forge, fine. If you want to build it on Fabric, fine. If you want to build it on Quilt, fine. So that's something that we're working on in the back end. Will the vanilla version have less system requirements? Yes, that is half of the goal. We're doing this because we want it to be more lightweight for worse computers to be able to play. Anyway, there are a few things with Vault Hunters for sure that we are... we do have a roadmap. We do have a lot of new exciting things coming past update 13 as well. We have, new objectives coming. But there are some immediate things that I keep thinking about. And I just want to share with all of you who are interested in this game and the development. I think one issue with Vault Hunters at the moment that I want to make better is catalysts. I don't think that catalysts are in a state that are good enough for the average player. I think the catalyst system as a whole is a little bit too complex, and it has these things that aren't, straight up in your face declared. They're great for endgame. They're great for architect vaults. They're great for making super crystals endgame. But that's kind of where the problem lies. Because everything else in the game becomes balanced around, okay, well, how fast can a player mine 500 ornate chests? And at level 100, let me tell you, like in an architect vault with a couple blacksmith rooms and 15, 20 catalysts on there, you mine 800, you mine 1,000 ornate chests, and nothing else matters. It's not a great design the way it is at the moment. So one thing the catalyst does great is that they force the player to run the crystal. So when you create a crystal and you apply a catalyst, you will eventually get an unmodifiable or exhausted crystal, which means that you can no longer do anything with it, so you gotta go. And that's a great feature, because in Vault Hunters 2, we didn't have that, and so the player were sitting there trying to perfect every single crystal, and what happened was that it was just like a UI game, where you were just matching catalysts to see what you got. But I can make it better. I can make it have that and be more understandable. My idea currently is to make every crystal have an amount of sockets or capacity. Think tools. Think tools and jewels. And there's no randomness here. No randomness whatsoever. So a level 50 crystal, let's just play with the idea that it would have 5 capacity. It could have 5 catalysts put on it. And level 100 could have 10 catalysts put on it. And a level 0 or up to 20 could have none. Something like that is what I'm currently thinking. And I think that would help understanding catalysts. And then what I would do is I would buff the individual catalyst. There would be no more random instability and crystal dice, but I would buff every single catalyst, both the negative and the positive effects. It would be a, what is it called? Deterministic way of finishing a crystal. You wouldn't get kicked on your second catalyst anymore. You would get, if you're level 100, if you're doing level 100 crystals, well, you can have 10 catalysts, period. No randomness. And every catalyst would be size 1. Like, there wouldn't be sizes on catalysts. They would be, okay, I said capacity, let's call it sockets. Catalyst sockets. If it says 10 on the crystal, you would have 10 sockets. And then every single individual catalyst would be stronger. That, in addition to that, I would like to have catalysts have icons that represent what's on the catalyst. Now, that's difficult. That's very difficult because of the fact that we have, random negatives. But if random negative is a standard, or if we change it so that every catalyst is just positive, but as you take up catalyst slots on a crystal, you add negative effects. That could be the random aspect. So that's where my mind is at currently with catalysts, and I think this is a pretty solid idea. I'm quite excited about doing it this way. I think it would be great, but we'll see. I'm here to mention in this video and stream, I'm here to mention some things that I'm currently thinking about. This is what has my attention at the moment in development. The next thing is scaling, specifically with Vault Gear, specifically weapons. I think that the damage scaling is a little bit weird at the moment. I think it would be way better if the implicits on weapons scaled every level. Okay, so instead of having groups for damage, a level 68 sword would be better than a level 67 sword, always. And I say that because I think that it would make more sense to a new player. Do we have a good example here? We got a level 48 sword and a level 56 sword, and it's really quite difficult to tell. But you can see that the level 56 sword has a massive upswing on the level 48 sword because it can have a lot more attack speed. Now, this is fine when it comes to armor and gear. When it comes to groups of things, that's fine because the game is so fast that you have to be able to get used to an armor tier, etc. Also slow, end game. But with weapons, it just feels weird. I don't know how to explain that better, but I think that the base damage should have some sort of other scaling. So that's also something that I'm thinking about. And this is specifically annoying early game before level 50. While we're talking about weapons, I mean, let's just say this. I mean, everyone is thinking this. Axes suck. We did a change in a recent version where axes now roll higher AD than swords do, but DPS wise they are nowhere near a sword. This has made axes into javelin wands, right? You have an axe on number 2, for example, and you're a javelin enjoyer, so you switch to the axe, you shoot your javelin, you switch back to your sword. If I were to do Vault Hunters from scratch today, I would not have included axes. I don't think they have a place in the game. They're also confusing for new players, why can't I mine wood with this thing, right? And we can't just add that because it voids tools. I loved axes when they had extra reach, and I still like them. They don't have the implicit for extra reach. That's the first person I've heard saying that. I thought that was a genuinely good idea when I implemented that. I thought, okay, people will understand this now. Getting some extra reach, you use it like a spear. And having 1 extra attack reach or even half a block extra attack reach is a lot. It's the difference from attacking this anvil from here to standing here. But I haven't seen many people appreciating that, and maybe it was too complex. Let's talk a little bit about gear crafting and maintaining gear crafting as well, because that's another thing that's on my mind, and actually something that may make it to update 13. This may be in the next update of Vault Hunters. We are going to make more foci. We have a problem right now that would seem silly, which is inventory space in this table, right? That's the main problem. But we are going to make more foci. We are going to make a legendary focus that would work like a wild focus. It would reroll the item and guarantee a legendary. A random legendary, but still a legendary. This will be a focus that, in my head right now, you get at low percent chance, maybe 20% chance, when you scrap a legendary piece. And you can also find it in treasure rooms. It will not give you a specific legendary, mind you. You can get, legendary, whatever have you. But it will give you a random legendary. The other modifier, the other focus that we have decided on making finally is the focus that will take your gear, and with a press of a button, it will lock a random modifier. Now, this allows for a lot of strategy when crafting gear, which I like. This means that you can get a gear piece and you can try and get your one modifier that you want on there and nullify down so that you only have your one modifier and then lock it. Then when you've locked a modifier, you can use a wild focus on it. You can use a legendary focus on it, and it's fine. It's fine. You have locked a modifier there. Another thing that's on my mind is whenever you craft gear, we want to make this slightly better, okay? We want to make this a better experience. One easy thing that we could do, which I don't think will have big impact, is to guarantee soulbound on everything you craft. So you craft a sword, well, it's going to be soulbound. I don't think the solution is to increase the potential or the proficiency, because of the fact that people don't understand how absolutely powerful it is to have proficiency maxed. I think the rates are something like 1 in 5 is an omega. If 1 in 5 is an omega and you have the legendary foci, well, now you're breaking the game. I will say that there's definitely focus on gear crafting. I want to make sure that it's better. I think it got better with the prices going down recently. I think that they're more reasonable now. I think the problem is still in this price. I think that vault ingots are cringeworthy. I think that they are weird. So maybe a simple solution that we do is to say that this is a vault alloy, and we remove the need for like chromatic steel here. To me, it's always strange that there are multiple recipes. I think that the fact that there are multiple recipes are great, because you want your scrapping, you want your recycling recipe. But I see what you mean, like the end product. But the end product is the same though, it's Vault Alloy. I think that this gives players choice. But yeah, in a way it is weird. In a way it is weird because Vault ingots are not used for anything else, okay? So because Vault ingots are not used for anything else, it is weird in the current state. And I'll have to think about what to do with that. There's something wrong with it. It needs my attention, basically. Okay, another thing that has my attention, obviously, and I want to say this, it's very important, is the god stuff. Specifically the charms and how to get reputations. I love the charms. I think they're a great flair to the game. But they are not in a place where they are great. And I don't have the solution for this yet. It's coming. It's growing in my brain. But it's not there yet. It's not good enough the way it is. In update 13, we're changing it so that difficulty doesn't control whether or not you have to go back to the altar. You never have to go back to the altar unless you want extra loot, in which case you go back to the altar. I feel like charms could be better. The way you get reputation, I don't know if it's too slow because it's so powerful. Like, that is the issue. It is so powerful. The Divine Paradox is just so powerful when you get into it. Etho had an idea that I quite liked, and that is that it solves another thing. We need a recycling for charms. We need to be able to do something with charms that we don't want, right? And Etho had an idea where you recycle charms into essence of that god. Whenever you create this seal, the cost for this seal would include like broken down charms. But again, I'm not entirely sure how to make it work. Dungeon archives suck, says someone in chat. I completely disagree with you. I think the dungeon archives are perfect. But there is an issue in the questline, if that's what you're referring to. The quest for dungeon archives in update 13 is optional. You can continue to quest without completing it. As should this be as well, the run realm. So yeah, the quest line is getting a slight update in update 13. Another thing with the Paradox Vault is that for whatever reason there was a misunderstanding between me and Vutax, and currently you can build an unlimited amount of rooms. That is not the case in update 13. That's a bug. So you should only be able to build 25 per each god for a total of 100 rooms. That was the whole point. But I've seen people do 200, 300 rooms, which, you know, okay, whatever. But that of course throws the balance completely off. You can build unlimited amount of rooms currently. Also, I mean, in update 13, speaking about modifier archives, because we are getting a larger amount of large and medium dungeons, you are going to be seeing more modifier archives. Because they're tied to the size of the dungeon. And then another thing that we are currently or constantly doing is we need more objectives. We all want bosses back. And we have an amazing, a fantastic boss objective planned. It's so good. Etho helped design it, I will say. It's really clever. Because the problem with bosses has always been, well, there's been two things. The first one has been, you know, okay, so I want to do this as fast as possible. I just want to kill this guy. The second has been, okay, we can't design bosses. Bosses are garbage. But we can design bosses now. We got Pepperfly, and he's done amazing. Together with Dude and Danny, and like the animations have been crisp. It's been great. Attack animations, all of this stuff. So that's no longer a problem. So now the problem was, how do we solve the speed running mentality of a boss fight? And we have. We have got a perfect plan, and it will be in update 14. So yeah, there are things that have my attention, and those are the main things that have my attention at the moment. And I think that I really enjoy developing this game. I really enjoy seeing all of your guys' feedback, so please keep leaving me feedback. I do read the Reddit, etc. I am an enjoyer of skill gapping, but I want to be inclusive to everyone. And so what I mean by that is, I like the idea of having things that are difficult that you can get better at, but I want the entry point to be accessible to everyone. So that's kind of the mantra. And to the question, will there ever be a finished or polished version of Vault Hunters? I mean, we're working on it every single day. We are a bunch of people working on it, and we keep adding things. We keep making the game better. I think we're working in the mantra of Minecraft, right? Has Minecraft ever had a finished version? I think Microsoft went out and promised that they'd be updating the game in 100 years from now. And we're working in that same era. I've not come to a conclusion in my head yet of this is the finished product. It's a sandbox development. But there is another idea that I floated with Xverion this morning, one of the developers, that I really liked. And that is, what if we implement a room that has a forge? So it's called the Forge. It's a mega room, okay? And you can craft this room on an inscription as well. And so in this room, what you can do is you can upgrade a vault gear item to the level of the vault. And so if I go into level 68 vault with my level 65 sword, I could upgrade it so that it becomes a level 68 sword, and the implicits would upgrade with it. So that way, if you find like a legendary on level 40, you know, maybe it's going to be fine. Maybe you can upgrade it later. We are also working on new challenge rooms. By the way, this is another thing that has my attention. I really want to make more challenge rooms. There are so many easy, quote unquote, things that we can do. Protect the point. You go into a vault, you go into this challenge room, protect the point, and there's like a thing in the middle that you click, and zombies start spawning to chase villagers. Villagers specifically, because it's funny to see my family members run around. And you have to kill the zombies. Like protect the villagers. And then if you succeed, you know, you kill all the zombies. They come in waves or whatever. You kill all of them. You get a big loot pile. Boom. Done. That's a challenge room. That's something that I want. Raid rooms, like we had in Season 2, the raid objective. We want to do that in rooms. So that you go in, you opt in to doing this raid, and then boom. There you do. And the reward doesn't have to be loot. It could be modifier tables as well, yes. So I think, I mean, there are some really good things coming. It's great to be back, basically, is what I'm saying. And I'm just excited. I'm excited about these things, you know? This is These are things that makes me happy and pag yeah, as I say, it's just fun. Fun to develop this game. I love it.